Right. So picture Japan in 1911, a time when the streets were filled with the clatter of wooden sandals and the clip-clop of horse hooves. The air was thick with the scent of incense and the hustle of street vendors. No, not the high-tech, neon-drenched Japan you're thinking of. Forget the bustling Shibuya crossing and the towering skyscrapers. I'm talking about a time when horses were still a thing, and cars, well, they were a novelty. Imagine a world where the sight of a car was as rare as spotting a unicorn. It was in this era that a chap named Masujiro Hashimoto started a company called Kwaishinsha Motor Car Works. Ambitious, right? He had a vision, a dream to transform Japan's transportation landscape. The goal was simple: build cars. Japanese cars. Not just any cars, but vehicles that could stand the test of time and compete on the global stage. Now, Hashimoto wasn't messing about. He knew this wouldn't be easy, but he was determined. He gathered a team of engineers and craftsmen who shared his passion and vision. This was a time of massive change, and Japan was playing catch-up with the big boys of the car world. The Industrial Revolution was in full swing, and Japan was eager to join the race. The first car they built was, well, let's just say it wasn't going to trouble a Rolls-Royce. It was a humble beginning, a prototype that laid the foundation for future innovations. But it was a start, a significant step forward in Japan's automotive journey. It showed that Japan was ready to join the automotive party. The seeds of an industry were sown, and the world was about to witness the rise of an automotive icon. 3 years later, something rather interesting happened. The company, now renamed Kwaishinsha Motor Car Company, unveiled a new car. They called it the DAT. Now, before you ask, no, it wasn't some early attempt at a computer on wheels. The name actually stood for the initials of the company's investors, Den, Aoyama and Takeuchi. Catchy, eh? This DAT car wasn't just a name. It was a statement. It was smaller than most cars at the time, making it nimble and fuel efficient. Remember, petrol was pricey even back then. This little car was a sign of things to come. Japan wasn't just going to build cars, they were going to innovate, they were going to do things differently. Now, fast forward to the 1930s. The company was going through some more changes. New name alert? They were now called Datsun. Why Datsun? Well, remember that DAT car? They basically added sun to it. Think of it as a nod to the company's roots, like a proud father passing the torch to his son. Datsun cars were built for the people. They were affordable, reliable and easy to drive. They became popular in Japan, which was exactly what the company needed. But the ambition didn't stop there. Datsun had its sights set on something bigger, the world. Little did they know what the coming years would bring. Ah, the 1940s. Not exactly a great decade for, well, anything really. World War II put a stop to pretty much everything, including building fun little cars for the public. Datsun, like many companies in Japan, had to shift gears, pun intended, and focus on the war effort. They started making trucks, engines and other military vehicles. It wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. Survival often trumps style, you see. This wartime experience, though difficult, actually helped Datsun in the long run. They learned how to be more efficient, how to build things tough, and how to adapt to challenging circumstances. These were valuable lessons that would serve them well in the coming years. Section 5, post-war recovery, rising from the ashes. So, the war's over. Time to get back to building cars, right? Easier said than done. Japan was in ruins, factories were bombed, resources were scarce, and the economy was in shambles. But you know what they say? When the going gets tough, well, you know the rest. Datsun, against all odds, started rebuilding. They knew they had to get back on their feet, and fast. They started by producing small, affordable cars for the Japanese market. People needed transport, and Datsun was there to provide it. But their ambition hadn't been extinguished by the war. They still had that dream of global domination, or at least global car sales. Section 6. Conquering America. The Datsun 240Z takes center stage. Fast forward to the 1960s. The world had changed dramatically. The post-war era had given rise to a new kind of consumer, one who was looking for innovation, style and efficiency in their automobiles. America, land of the free and home of the V8, was starting to get a taste for smaller, more fuel-efficient cars. The oil crisis loomed on the horizon, and the American public was becoming more conscious of their fuel consumption. Datsun saw an opportunity. They were ready to take on the American market, and they had just the car to do it, the Datsun 240Z. This car was designed to be a game changer, combining the best of European sports car aesthetics with Japanese engineering precision. This wasn't just another small car, it was a revolution on wheels. This was a sports car. It had the performance to match its looks, with a powerful engine and agile handling that could rival the best of the European models. It was sleek, it was stylish, and it was affordable. The Datsun 240Z offered a level of sophistication and performance that was previously unattainable for the average American consumer. Americans, used to their gas-guzzling muscle cars, were smitten. The Datsun 240Z provided a refreshing alternative, offering both excitement and practicality. The Datsun 240Z became an instant hit. It wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. Sales skyrocketed, and the 240Z quickly became a common sight on American roads. It put Datsun on the map, not just in America, but around the world. The success of the 240Z opened doors for Datsun in international markets, establishing the brand as a global player in the automotive industry. They had finally cracked it. The Datsun 240Z was more than just a car. It was a symbol of a new era in automotive history, one where performance, style and affordability could coexist. Section 7. Navigating crisis. The oil shock and Nissan's resilience. But just when things were looking rosy, the 1970s threw a curveball, the oil crisis. Fuel prices went through the roof. People were panicking. Big, thirsty cars were suddenly about as popular as a flat tire on a racetrack. What did Datsun do? They adapted, of course. They knew their strength was in smaller, more efficient cars. They doubled down on that, focusing on fuel economy and reliability. While other car makers struggled, Datsun weathered the storm. They even changed their name to Nissan, which was actually the name of the parent company all along. A bit confusing, I know. Section 8. Global Expansion, a Partnership for Success. The 1980s and 1990s were all about growth for Nissan. They built factories all over the world, from America to Europe. They were a global force to be reckoned with. But the car industry is a tough business. Competition was fierce. To stay ahead of the game, Nissan did something rather clever. They partnered up with French carmaker Renault. This strategic alliance gave them access to new technologies, resources and markets. It was a win-win situation. Nissan was no longer just a Japanese car maker. They were a global player with a strong partner. Section 9. Entering the electric age, the Nissan Leaf. Now let's talk about the future. The 21st century brought with it a new challenge: climate change. The world needed cleaner cars, and Nissan was ready to answer the call. In 2010, they launched the Nissan Leaf, and no, it wasn't green. This was a game changer. The Leaf was one of the first mass-produced electric cars. It was quiet, it was spacious, and it produced zero emissions. It was a bold move, but it was a necessary one. The Leaf showed that Nissan was serious about electric vehicles. They were putting their money where their exhaust pipe wasn't. Section 10. Driving into the future, autonomous visions. Imagine a world where the car does the driving for you, freeing up your time and making your journeys safer and more efficient. But Nissan isn't stopping there. They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, constantly innovating and looking ahead. They're already looking ahead to a future where cars drive themselves. This isn't just a dream, it's becoming a reality. Autonomous driving, they call it. A technology that promises to change the way we think about transportation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jeremy, you like driving. The thrill of the open road, the control in your hands. You don't want a car that drives itself. It sounds like it would take away the joy of driving. And you're right, I don't. But there's more to it than just that. But this technology isn't about taking the fun out of driving. It's about enhancing our safety and efficiency on the road. It's about making driving safer and more efficient. Imagine a car that can react faster than a human, avoiding accidents and navigating through traffic seamlessly. Imagine a world with fewer accidents, less traffic congestion and more free time. A world where you can relax and enjoy the ride. That's the promise of autonomous driving. A future where our cars are not just vehicles but intelligent companions. Nissan is investing heavily in this technology, developing sensors, cameras, and artificial intelligence systems. These advancements are paving the way for a new era in transportation that will revolutionize the way we drive. Imagine a car that knows the best route, avoids traffic, and ensures your safety at all times. Or rather, the way our cars drive us. The future of driving is here, and it's autonomous.